We're going to talk a little bit about our experience with coaching together. Let's get started with you. I'd love, can you tell me a little bit more about you and your background to give a bit of context?
I started a couple of companies and exited that have gone pretty well. The first one was Sidcore. We grew that to about $40 million a year in sales, 300 employees. And I exited that in 2009 and then started another company called True Source Labs. That was, the Sidcore was in the logistics and technology space, services space, working with global 500 manufacturers, mostly PC manufacturers. Then I started a company called True Source Labs, which was in the technical support space. And so we had about 400 employees here in Austin and 200 over in Western Europe, in Ireland, and sold out of that end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And then had a bit of a journey that led myself to you.
Yeah, so we connected around 5 or 6 months ago, right? Q2 of 2020, right?
Yes, about 6 months, exactly.
Yeah. How did you find me?
I found you through another coach that I had read some articles by her, and what she wrote really resonated with me. And so I reached out to her, and she said she was not taking any additional clients, but she recommended her coach, which was you. And so I reached out to you, and that's how it all began.
The first couple of times that we spoke on the phone, I called you, like you sent you an email and then I called you back, and I could tell that you were both eager to get started, but there was a bit of resistance as well. What was the situation there? Why were you looking for a coach? What got you, what was the resistance? What was the situation on that?
I had exited these two businesses. I had quite a bit of experience, but I really was unclear about how to move forward and where to go and how to go about it. So I was a bit lost. I think the hesitance was, I always thought, well, I'm supposed to know the answers because I'm the guy who's supposed to have the answers. And I didn't have the answers, and that was scary.
One thing that we found, throughout the journey, but also I think like quite early on, was kind of that pressure of, you had already done it twice with two, biggest successful businesses. And in a way, with the third time, you have this pressure of, okay, I'm supposed to know what I'm going to do, but at the same time, also the pressure of getting to the same level. I was like, okay, will I be able to do it a third time? It's counterintuitive to see how in this case, your previous success was challenging you more than it was supporting you, because, you could have gone like, well, I've already done it, let's do it. But in a way, that narrative would also flipped against you and getting in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I was doing battle between my ears for sure.
What's the biggest transformation between, then, this is like 6 months ago, and now? And then I want to ask you about the journey as well. But, we spoke about that before. Where are we now?
In 6 months, I've gone from not knowing where I was going to go to very connected to my own values. And now I'm doing something that's more missionally connected to myself. I'm about to pitch to my investor base my next business. And so we've taken it from not knowing what I was going to do all the way to the actual pitch, which is in the next week.
It's interesting to see as well that, in the 6 months, we had some moments that were a little bit slower, but then there was like a big realization at the end of that period, and there was a sprint. And it's cool how much has happened over that period of time.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful. Yes, it feels really good to be here. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to get here.
I did.
Yeah, you have more confidence than I did. Yes.
Yeah. Is there any light bulb moment or any aha moment that you want to share throughout the six months, or anything like that comes to mind with that?
Again, working with you, not being in Austin, I was concerned, would we be able to do that? And so I think what would happen for me is every week before I get on the call, I'd be like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need a coach. And then most times we were together, I would always have a takeaway, a significant takeaway. What you would help me to do is bring clarity around an area, and that would give me energy to continue down the journey.
And that's great to hear. And I think that, what we did with the weekly sessions is, you have that clarity to keep the movement going in between sessions. So for the week, you'd go like, okay, I know what my mission is. So it was really important to break it down into, okay, what's the step for this week? What's the step for the other week? And keep that momentum going. Yeah, that's one of the biggest thing that we did on a weekly basis. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, again, I can't speak enough about how I internally felt because I was the one leading these organizations that I'm the one who's always supposed to have that cadence and those answers. The biggest benefit was, okay, I can trust somebody else to help with that. It doesn't always have to be me because I can't always self-generate that.
Yeah. And there's also the case that I can see things from a different point of view, and I can help you extract the answer. I can also see other businesses and draw a parallel with something else that I've already seen. But the thing is, when you're in it, it's very difficult to see the big picture because you might see just what's in front of you, in that specific moment. So being able to talk about it with someone else, and with me in this case, also helped you kind of see the big picture when there was maybe a challenge facing you for that specific week.
Yes. Sure.
To someone who's like on the fence and maybe, they're watching this and go like, yeah, I want to work with a coach, I want to work with Matt, but maybe they have the same reservations that you have, saying like, I'm supposed to know all the answers, or I know what I'm doing. What would you say? What would you say to them?
I'd say if you're on the fence, go ahead and take a chance, take the risk, and it will feel uncomfortable. But I think given a couple times with Matt, you will get some clarity and it will help you to move forward.
I appreciate that. And also for me, it's really important how I vibe with the other person, if that makes sense. I talk to someone and I'm not the right person, or maybe we're just not the right match. That's fine. I know that things are not going to go the right way. And so I might recommend someone else or say, look, this is not the right time. You're not going to make the most of it. And I think it's normal to have some resistance, especially if it is the right time, because that resistance is telling you that things are going to change. You're going to do something differently, and then you're going to have to face a new situation, new opportunities, new challenges. And every time we are faced with even like a big change or a positive change, there's always some resistance. I always have an initial call. So if anyone is watching this, definitely get in touch with me and we'll have a call. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Chris?
I think you're right. We had personal chemistry, which was really helpful. And a thing too, which was great, is as a creator, I would have weeks where I was strong and weeks when I wasn't, and you were able to meet me where I was, and just help me move the ball forward and connect with me. I think the thing that was really helpful is we really looked at the business through the lens of my entire life, my personal life, my family life, my business, my experience. As I mature as a person, as I mature as a leader, that was really critical for me.
That's really great to hear. Sometimes the expectations we have in the digital world or the modern world, I don't know, but we see things as compartmentalized, and they challenge each other or in opposition with each other. So you have to choose between your business or, being healthy, or your relationships, etc. But, actually, if you create like a virtuous cycle around them, it's more fulfilling and more effective at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. It was. Yeah. And that was really key for me, especially at this time in my life.
That's good to hear. It's been my pleasure. Also, it's been a lot of fun to connect and work with you, and also see this. And, a great advantage from my point of view is that when we speak on a weekly basis, I can see what's changed. So, from your point of view, you see the story day by day, minute by minute. So it's very difficult to see things as they grow. Whereas when I jump in once a week, or even, when we touch base via email, I can see, okay, this has happened, this has changed. So it's easier for me to see things growing. And then sometimes I remind you of what's happened just because of that point of view. And it's been really good to see all the progress that's happened over the past 6 months. So it's been amazing. And thank you for taking action, because that's really where the magic lies.
Yeah, it does. It does. Thank you, Matt.
Okay, Chris, thank you for the story, for sharing your story. I appreciate it. And we'll speak soon.